All the world is a stage, and all the men and women merely players. A bit of Shakespeare to start the day. Okay. Certainly, if the world is a stage, we're in the middle of a very dramatic scene. Let's hope that we come out well. Okay, so we looked at acting in our last Gold Experience C1 class. That's where we are. Okay, remember? And we're going to continue looking at people who perform, maybe, or assume a role. We're going to be looking at costume, and we're going to be looking at illusion. Okay, now special treat today, you've got 2 classes for the price of 1. So I'm going to divide the class into 2 different videos, one about the grammar section and one for the listening. Okay, so without further ado, to use a Shakespearean words, let's turn to page 80 in our Gold Experience C1 books, page 80. We looked at method acting and actors, and here we have in exercise 1 4 conditional sentences, okay, the starts of conditional sentences relating to the idea of film and acting. Okay, our task is to make them into basic conditional forms. Remember, there are 4 basic conditional forms from 0, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, decide what tenses are used and when we use these forms. So let's start off with the first one. Number 1. It's hard for actors to concentrate on stage if people talk. This is the 0 conditional. Present simple, usually. Okay, it's for something that is always true. General time, or now. Okay. Number 2. Hopkins will win an award for his latest film if the critics agree his performance was amazing. Okay, so this is the first conditional. We know that we use after if the present, and for the result, Hopkins will win, we usually use will or might, some sort of future idea, because it's about a future possibility, something that it's possible. Hence its future. Okay. Number 3. Now, if Mike weren't an actor, he'd probably be a teacher. Okay, so there we have the second conditional. Now, Mike is definitely an actor, so we're imagining an alternative situation. It's a hypothetical conditional. It's talking about the present. Mike is an actor now. Okay, in an alternative reality, he'd be a teacher. If I weren't a teacher, I'd probably be, I don't know, an actor. And we use if plus the past. Okay, and then in the result, we use he would be. Okay, sometimes we change the would to other modal verbs, but that's the basic, he would be. Number 4. If I had known the film was going to be so violent, I would never have gone to see it. Okay, if I had known. So we've got what time frame? That's right, the past. Okay, is it a past that really happened? Did I know the film was violent? No, I didn't. So it's an alternative past. Basically, it's the past version of the second conditional. So it's an unreal past. If plus past perfect, if I had known. The result, I would not have. So would plus have plus gone, past participle, would have gone. Okay, so those are the basic forms, but sometimes we like to mix things together. Okay, perhaps we talk about a present situation and a past result, or an alternative present with a past result, or a past situation and the present result. Look at these basic, these very common mixed conditionals in the Explore Grammar section. Match, if you would, A to the example sentence B and C, to the example sentences. Okay, pause the video and we'll check. Okay, so we have the future result of a hypothetical situation in the past. Future result, okay? Well, that's number 2, yes. This is the result. We wouldn't have so many wonderful actors next year if, in the past, Strasbourg hadn't developed a method in such an unconscious way. So we're mixing really the third conditional if with the second conditional. B, the possible result of in the present of a hypothetical action in the past. This is very similar, really. If Tom Cruise hadn't suffered so much in the past, would the film be quite so riveting, so intense and addictive to audiences? Okay, past action, present result. And finally, that means that C is 3. Okay, we ask ourselves, if these weren't truly dedicated actors now, would they have put themselves through such ordeals in previous roles? Okay, so it's talking about something that's perhaps general unreality related to a past result. Okay, don't worry too much about D, E and F for the moment. Let's look at part 3. Here we have different mixed conditionals. Okay, you need to pause the video and you need to create or write mixed conditionals about these situations. Okay, start with if. Okay, it's fine. I'll get the answers, So, number 1, if I hadn't agreed to take on extra work, I wouldn't be so stressed now. Okay, good. Number 2, if John liked me, liked in the past, if John liked me, he would have invited me to his party. Number 3, if the car hadn't broken down yesterday, we wouldn't be travelling to the airport by taxi tomorrow. 4, if the teacher hadn't given us a surprise test, I'd be at home now. Number 5, I hope this is not true for you. If I had got the right grades, I would be starting university next September. And number 6, if Dad had got the heating fixed, it wouldn't be freezing in my room right now. Okay, if Dad had got the heating fixed yesterday or last week, I wouldn't be cold now. Right, good. So, let's move on. Look at the picture. Here we have examples of cosplay. I'm sure you know what it is. What is it exactly? Well, as it says at the bottom here, in the green strip, in 1984, Japanese manga publisher Takahashi Nobuyuki used the term cosplay for the first time. Read the text and find out what exactly is cosplay. Pause the video, read it quickly. Yes, so there you go, cosplay. Taking on the roles of famous superheroes or stars or so on. Very popular in Japan, as you can see. And it is a combination of, yes, costume and play. So, why don't we complete the text? All of these are conditional forms, okay? There might be occasionally 1 or 2 options. Okay, but it should be pretty clear. And we're looking at mixed conditionals and ordinary conditionals, I think. Okay, so pause the video and then come back and we'll check. Okay, welcome back. So, let's do it together. So, number 1. If you've never heard of cosplay, have never heard, yeah, you are not alone. A few years back, I would not have had a clue if you had asked me. It's a straight third conditional. But the conversations are now an important part of my life. So cosplay, what is it? Okay, well, if you went back a few decades, you would... Okay, if you went back a few decades, you would find... There we go, I've lost myself. The idea of recreating famous characters using costume and role-playing was popular. Okay, if kids at that time hadn't bought into the whole thing in such a big way, it wouldn't be such a phenomenally successful cult hobby today. First, it really took off in Japan, where the combination of words of costume and play originated. Now, worldwide. It's not so much dressing up, it's becoming a character. If you want to really cosplay, you need to adopt every tiny mannerism of your target character. In Japan, it was originally manga and anime, and copy every detail of their appearance. And it costs. If I told you the amount I spend on a costume for a convention, you would be amazed. But it's my passion, and it could be yours. I just wish I had found out about it earlier. Okay, so there we have it. Cosplay. If you're not sure about any of the answers, remember, contact me or put the answers you've got and I'll check that they're okay. Okay? So, different ideas. Do you enjoy dressing up for special events? Would you be interested in going to a cosplay convention? If you did, whose identity would you take? Okay, well, let's stop just there. I'm going to give you some homework. In that homework, you might need to also look at these alternative forms. Okay, so let's have a look at the back on page 152. 152, okay? Now, 152 gives you an introduction to the basic conditionals, which you should know by now, mixed conditionals, which you probably know, and also some alternative forms, which you might not know. Okay, for example, we can use should in very formal situations with the first conditional. Okay, should you have any questions, you can ask me. Okay, should you require further assistance. Okay, very common and very formal. Sometimes we use the expression were to plus the infinitive. Okay, again, it's slightly more formal. Also, maybe slightly less certain. Okay, if I were to increase my offer, would it be accepted? It's a way of hedging, a way of being a little bit politer. Okay, again, that's obviously in the second conditional. And finally, in the third conditional, we can invert. We can lose if and invert the past perfect to make a question like this. Instead of saying, if we had asked, we can say, had we asked. What is the result? A more formal sentence, obviously. Okay? So, looking at those three sections, basic conditionals, mixed conditionals, and alternative forms, I'd like you to do exercise 1, exercise 2, and exercise 3 on page 153. It's ordinary conditionals, mixed conditionals, and a mix, including alternative forms. Okay, so we'll stop there for this section. Remember, part 2 will be the listening and will be up soon on a website near you. So, see you later, alligator.